Welcome to the Women's Hoops Show. The trade deadline has come and gone, and it gave us one blockbuster that could reshape the rest of the WNBA season. Super casual. Kelsey Plum is headed to Phoenix. She's already there. She's already played. Plus, Aneesah Morrow gets a fresh start in Toronto, and we'll discuss why that move could end up being a win for both her and the Tempo. Then it's time for another edition of Hoop Roots, where we'll revisit some of the biggest midseason trades in WNBA history before taking a closer look at the LA Sparks. Is their recent decline actually worse than Chicago's? We had to throw Chicago in there. And then we'll recap an incredible week on the court. Olivia Miles and the Lynx extend their winning streak by ending Indiana's 5-game run. Sydney Taylor delivered one of the best buzzer beaters of the season to shock the Aces. And we'll ask whether we're taking A'ja Wilson, one of the greatest players the game has ever seen, for granted. Let's get into it. Kendra Andrews. Woo! Boo, 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 boo.
We're back.
We're back.
Oh my God, we're so back. I'm so good. How are you?
I am great. I love when our yap sessions just perfectly align, when there is so much to yap about. But then I was like, there's always stuff to yap about.
We'll fill the time. We will fill the time. And the W never leaves us too long without something to talk about. That's for sure.
Oh, man. So entertaining. And, I love that recently the trade deadline is more of a thing in the WNBA. I would say, even 3 years ago, people would be trying to schedule content around trade deadline. And I'm like, it's usually pretty quiet. Everyone makes their moves in the off season. Free agency is crazy. But have you seen, there's rumors flying around, names are being tossed around. It was a lot more exciting this year.
It was very, very active in terms of just like you said, the discussions, the names that were being thrown around, the conversations that were being had. And I think what makes the trade deadline so interesting compared to free agency is that, and actually the Mercury GM, Nick Uren, said it the other night during Kelsey Plum, which we'll get to, her introductory press conference. He goes, 93% of the conversations that he has don't come to fruition. Whereas in free agency, I feel like it's a lot more cut and dry almost, because it's in the players' hands. But when it comes to front offices, what can they get from each other, the puzzle piecing, all of this, it makes it so fascinating. And even, I think we saw 2 trades happen, but the conversations that were going on were far more than that.
To be a fly on the wall. I wonder what are some of those conversations that didn't come into fruition. And I feel like we could go through that from years past, all the conversations that maybe didn't happen, but how would have that affected the outcome of the season is so fascinating. So you said we'll get to Kelsey. First, I want to talk about Aneesah Morrow, because when I saw her name come up at the midseason trade deadline, I was really excited, because I felt like in Connecticut, she has proven that she is a scorer, that she is a rebounder, that she is an extension of what she did at LSU. But a lot of her maybe original teammates has kind of gotten out of the Connecticut situation, except for Sanaya Rivers. She did a very sad TikTok, like, everyone is leaving me. But Sanaya, it's okay. You'll go on to Houston and do great things. But Aneesah Morrow, I think this is a trade, her going to the Toronto Tempo. Connecticut receives Maria Kilikadova and a 2028 second-round pick. This works for both sides. Connecticut is fully in a rebuild. So getting more draft picks is what they want, is what they need. It fits their MO. For the Tempo, they've started to kind of creep back in that conversation of like, oh, well, Brittany Sykes is coming back at some point in this season. Marina Mabrey is having an all-star year. And now we can get Aneesah Morrow to kind of help our bigs down low. Naira Sabli is playing super well, but you need just one more extra push. okay, like now that can kind of change some things, and you get someone that's still on their rookie contract, so you could build with her a little bit and they can start building a core. So I really like this trade, and I'm happy that they were able to see her potential, I guess, because that's what some of these midseason trades are, right?
Absolutely. I think the thing with midseason trades is you're looking at the short-term impact and the long-term impact, because we have 14-ish games left in the regular season. And so if you're the tempo, you're looking at that, you say, okay, how can we make that slight push to see if we can creep up into the playoff picture at this point? But then, as you said, like, first off, they're only in year one. As you said, Morrow's still on her rookie contract. So how does this help us just creep up the standings a little bit right now? But then what can we continue to build with as we develop our identity as a team and as an organization? And then she keeps growing as a player. I'm excited for her to learn from Sandy Brondello. I think that she's just such a great development coach and has been around this league and greats for so long. I think she has some really solid vets. Not to say that she didn't have that on the Sun as well, but it is just it's a different environment. It's a different field. They're going to ask her to do different things. And so I think that, again, to your point, this kind of checks both of those boxes for the tempo of this could help them right now, especially as Sykes comes back. And it is exciting to see what can this turn into in year two with the team and the organization, and then even beyond that.
Mm-hmm. That's always the tricky part. It's for the now and for the later. And so when we think about this next blockbuster trade with Kelsey Plum, I think it hurts the Sparks now and later. And for Phoenix, they are really, really happy now and crossing their fingers for later, because this is an expiring contract. Somebody who is still going to see what's out there in free agency. And the Sparks had a really tough decision, because we know we're not going to get her back. If she's already saying she's going to explore free agency, we got to get something for her, because so many people have walked in free agency in the Sparks, which we'll talk about, and they've got nothing in return. So they wanted to get something. So what they got back was Monique Akoa-Makani, 2027 first round pick, and a 2028 second round pick. Now, I saw this come through my feed with your name above it, and you kind of did a little breaking news, and I want you to move the curtain to the side and tell us what went in the inner workings of breaking news. It came in late West Coast time, so I knew it had to be a West Coast person.
I was walking home from a couple drinks with my friends. I'm glad that I did I'm glad I called it a night when I did. I said, I'm a little tired. And then, okay, things are happening. But, but hey, you got to do what you got to do for the job. It's all about work-life balance. The thing about news is breaking news. First off, it gives me an incredible level of anxiety. So I always give major props to people like Shams, like Woj when he was with our company, with, all of the guys in the NFL, MLB, any sport, because that's their whole life. And I'm like, you can have that. You guys keep doing you. You're killing it. But kind of like what Nick Uren said in his press conference, I think there's so many conversations that kind of lead up to deals getting done and news coming out. And it's just that it's a little bit of a waiting game, and you do what you can to have the correct conversations and keep up to date. And then you do as much as you can, and you have to wait for things to happen. Sometimes I feel like I made a joke with someone. Sometimes I feel like someone's desperate ex, because I keep hi, it's me again.
Just checking in. Hello.
How have you been? Are you still around? Those types of things. So
funny.
But I also think that then when you get to break something, it's very exciting. And look, I think the thing with the Kelsey Plum trade is there were a couple teams that had been, thrown out as like contenders or, viewed as favorites to land her. And this is something that came together a little bit later in the deadline process. When you look at, I'm curious what you think of what Phoenix had to give up in order to get Kelsey, because some things that I was told from some other teams is like, the Sparks just want a lot, and we're not willing, as great as Plum is, like she is a a franchise changing player with what we have and where we're at in the season. I don't feel comfortable, shipping all of that out for something that's not guaranteed to last more than 14 more games. And as this, trade came later on in the process, and 24 hours, a little less, like before, I guess a little more actually than before the deadline, did the Sparks kind of say, okay, you know what, we do have to lower the price a little bit, because as you said, Jordan, like if there's a greater chance that she walks in free agency and we get nothing back, like we have to make sure that we get something back. And so we kind of see that come together a little bit later, late at night and
last minute,
right before bedtime,
literally in bed under the covers.
Yeah.
Kelsey Plum. Okay. That is such a good point, because anytime somebody would bring up a team that was in the Kelsey Plum sweepstakes for this midseason trade, and it was your colleague Megan McEwen, who I love, she was talking about the Valkyries. She was like, Kelsey Plum should just go up the 5 and get on the Valkyries. And I was like, man, they have such a strong foundation. They would have to give up so many players, so many of the potential players, something that could really like mess up the rhythm. And I'm sure so many front offices were thinking that, we have a good thing going right now. Do we mess that up for 14 games? And then that core that we worked so hard to build is gone, and we could be left, filling for scraps at the end of this season. That is a really tough decision. Kelsey Plum is an all-star. She is a really good player. So I'm sure that was really hard to kind of navigate. For Phoenix, you don't really have much to lose. You have vets. You have a DeWanna Bonner. Maybe this is her last season. Like, you have extreme vets that are going to figure out whoever is on the floor. You have teammates that she has played with before. She played with the Phoenix Mercury coach and for Team USA for the Olympics. She's really good friends with Kalia Copper. She's played with Alyssa Thomas. Like, this is something that was like, okay, kind of could be a pickup game, really. Right. Like, you guys are going to figure it out. And the pressure is a little off there.
I also think, like, to your point of because, like, you're exactly right. And like conversations that I had with people around the league and within some of these organizations is exactly like, look, for the Valkyries, for example, it's like, we're also third in the standings right now.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
We're doing okay with what we have. Why are we going to, for the lack of a better term, like blow up what we have at this point in the season when we're playing so well? Someone told me, like, the Valkyries feel like they can kind of beat it. Like, the two teams that the Valkyries feel have their number a little bit are the Lynx, the only team in the entire league to have it beaten, and then the Aces, because they have someone named Asia Wilson. But other than that, like, they feel that they can compete with everyone. So with 14 games left, third in the standings, everything's just like clicking. Why are we going to blow that up? And that was the case for some other teams in the conversation that are towards the top of the standings. The thing with a team like Phoenix, similarly to Toronto, different but similar in this case, is like, they're trying to make that push to get in the playoffs. They're what, like 10th, 11th? Like, right now in the league, they're 4 games out of the or 6 games out of the playoffs, I think, as of before the game the other night. Anyway, my point is like, when you have a team that's on the bubble, they're like, yeah, we're not winning enough, so we should make a trade to see if this helps us. Whereas teams that are more cemented towards the top of the standings in the playoffs, why do we want to mess this up? And then again, I think the thing that we'll keep coming back to is why don't we just go after her in free agency? If she's still open to exploring other opportunities, if I'm a team like the Valkyries, I'm going to say, let's see how this plays out in this season. And then shoot, let's circle back in January or February when we don't have to give up anything right away. We see what we can get her for, and then we can do the math from there to make sure everyone else's contracts kind of fit in with how much money we're allowed to spend. But I think for Phoenix, it just makes a lot of sense because they have been underperforming this year. And if you have the opportunity to get a player like Kelsey Plum, who, as you said, just can fit naturally in with the pieces that they have and has an understanding and a relationship with Kalia Copper and with Nate Tibbetts, who, like,
why not?
Why not? Exactly.
Man. And we saw in her debut game.
Oh, we did.
Why not? Because this is the first game. Like, Kelsey has been hurt too.
Yeah,
that's something that we haven't even really seen her play basketball. She didn't play in the All-Star game because she's been nursing an injury. She was on a minutes restriction of only able to play 20 points. And she said, I'm going to maximize that and score for every minute. 20 points in 20 minutes. Yeah, I think I heard some Sparks fans, just their hearts breaking as she hit that dagger 3 over the Chicago Sky. Phoenix Mercury won 106-101. I will say, besides Kelsey Plum just looking like her old self and doing what she does, I saw a little bit of fire reignite in the Phoenix Mercury. I saw Kalia Copper just be able to go off 31 points, 20 points in the second half. Alyssa Thomas, she's back to her triple-double ways, 19 points, 50 rebounds, 12 assists. Like, even if it's just for 14 games, this was a little bit of fire that they needed to just reignite. Because when we talked about the Mercury weeks ago, it was like, man, I hate to see Alyssa Thomas waste a season like this. And DB they looked so down in the dumps and so upset that they were losing and underperforming worse than what we know that they can do. So this just felt like, okay, we can play. We got a hooper. We got a hooper with us, and we can run. So that was nice to see.
I mean, Jordan, even last year there was a trade deadline move that was a part of a spark that completely turned around the season for the Aces. And like NaLyssa Smith and Kelsey are two different players, two different organizations, two different journeys, all that good stuff. However, these are the kinds of moves that can completely shift the momentum in a very short amount of time for teams. And if I'm the Mercury, yeah, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm looking at Kalia Copper going off for 31, Alyssa Thomas, another double-double, triple-double, double-double.
Alyssa Thomas, triple-double.
Triple-double, excuse me.
Yeah.
My apologies. Triple-double. You see Kelsey Plum do what she did in her first game in 6 weeks. And then you have like DeWanna Bonner with that insane block down the stretch. Like, you see the potential with no practices, with no nothing. And it's just, like you said, it's like a pickup game. It's just like, these are pure hoopers. And these are the types of things that change, if nothing else, morale within like a franchise and organization, and good moods do a lot for like on-court production. So if I'm the Mercury, I think they're still like 5.5 games back out of the playoffs. I don't know. But you're looking at that. I will say the tricky thing, I saw something on like Threads or somewhere yesterday, so I don't have the exact math about like the Mercury still, they need to like win out and they need the live. Like there's like, I don't think they're fully control in their own destiny, unfortunately, but like they have the tools to do as much as they can. And so I'm feeling, if I'm the Mercury, I'm at least feeling good about like, we can handle our business. And then maybe we have to cross our fingers a little bit for some misfortune for other teams.
Mm-hmm. And it's like what you said, this is a trial. So even though they might miss the playoffs, they can say, Kelsey, wasn't that fun? Like, didn't you like your role? Don't you like these facilities? Do you want to run it back for a full season? Like I think that is what the front office, and I know you talk to them more, but that's a little bit of what they were saying. This is a trial period that we are willing to bet ourselves on, because once you get in, you might like it. And we're betting that you will to stay for all of next season. And we put ourselves back in the sweepstakes, which they were in the last free agency round. Like they were still very much in it. So that should be really interesting. Okay, we're going to talk more about Kelsey Plum and the other team on this trade, the LA Sparks, when we come back from a break, because my goodness, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. And it's been a while, so let's do a little hoop route.
Myers gets it up to Leslie. What's she going to do? She does it for the first time in WNBA history.
So the thing that makes this Kelsey Plum trade so interesting is that, you know, even this is not a knock on Aneesah Morrow, but that is a player, or a Alyssa Smith, where it's like, okay, we just need one of those role players to just finish out what we've already built in the offseason. It's not so much a star being moved at this mid-season point. That doesn't really happen too often. In fact, this is only the fourth time that an all-star has been changing teams in the middle of the season. It goes back to 2005 with Katie Smith. She was traded from the Lynx to the Detroit Shock. And if you know anything about history, that turned out really well. She got a couple championships out of that Detroit Shock trade. Then also in 2005, this is in the same year, Dawn Staley was traded from the Charlotte Sting to the Houston Comets, where she was able to play a season with Cheryl Swoops and reunite with her good friends over there. But that was towards the end of her career, and she was an all-star in the beginning. So then 2025, it took 20 years. There's a gap there. 2025, it was Brittany Sykes who was traded, if you guys remember, last year from the Mystics to the Storm. And this is an interesting one because that was kind of the same thing. The Mystics had to make a move because Brittany Sykes was on an expiring contract. She goes to the Storm. She balls out of control, even though the Storm there was a lot going on there. But she was balling out of control, and then she still leaves at the end of it, where everybody left the Storm. So that was probably a part of it. It was a max exodus. But it was like Storm fans were so happy with their Brittany Sykes for just a little bit, and she was scoring like nobody's business. So then we get to today, where Kelsey Plum is an all-star in MVP conversations at the beginning of this season, and still is the highest point average to be moved at the midseason line. So when we take all that into consideration, and the Sparks, like we said, they had to make a move because they wanted to get something in return. Let me start by saying this. Kelsey Plum was with the Sparks for 2 seasons. Would you consider the Kelsey Plum Sparks experiment a failure?
Yes.
The answer is
yes.
There is a correct answer here.
Yes.
Absolutely, Kendra. What the heck? Let me hear your reasoning why, and then I have some soapbox reasons.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love when you get on your soapbox. But I'll take like a little step stool, like not full soapbox, but a little step stool. I mean, look, like when they, traded for Kelsey 2 years ago in the offseason, 3-team trade. So that was also very rare in this league. And what they gave up, the Sparks gave up a lot to get Kelsey Plum. And one of the points was like, she will be what brings us back to the playoffs. At that point, they had just missed the playoffs for the 4th consecutive time. So now they're on a 5-year drought. They want to avoid 6, but TBD. But at the time, they were a 4-year playoff drought. Kelsey's, she's leaving Vegas, the organization that she's been a part of since she was drafted. She picks LA. it was a trade, but they worked together to find a home, because that's what you do with cord players during free agency. Anyway, she was supposed to be the person that took them out of this. And, they had some exciting young pieces around her. They had some like solid vets around her too. Dearica Hamby was still on that team, like Cam Brink, but she was supposed to be coming back from injury. They had Rakia Jackson at the time, and they just couldn't do it. You enter this season, you go and you get, the prodigal child's coming home. Nneka Ogwumike is coming back to the Sparks. Jordan, I was in LA for opening weekend, their home opener. And, I spoke with, dozens of players and people, and they were just telling me, they're like, Kendra, the vibes here are so good. We feel so confident. We're just like, this is the year. Like, this isn't like, yeah, every team says that at the start of the year, but this is like real. And I spoke with Kelsey Plum at a shoot around before one of their games. And, she was telling me of like, look, like I like coming here in 2024, 24 years are really confusing. She is like 2025. Anyway, I'm sorry. She was like, things do take time to build. And she said, as a leader and as the person that I am, I have to pour into the process, right? And understand. She's like, I came from a team that was perennial winning, the Aces. Like, that's all we did. We never had to bat an eye. And so, yeah, my first season with the Sparks wasn't exactly what I expected, but it's also on me to look around and say, what can I do? What can we do to get better? So she came, she was like, had humility and understanding that things take time. But from where that was, in May to where they are now, like, I didn't expect them to be in the top 4 necessarily, but I didn't expect them to be so far out of the game and have everything, go so wrong. They fire their general manager. It doesn't really feel like they have a clear direction. Like, do you want, like we were talking before about, are you winning now? Are you investing in the future? Are you trying to do both? I genuinely do not know what the Sparks are trying to do with some of the moves that they've made.
That's the problem. I don't think they know. We don't know. And we're just both looking at each other like, so wait, is this on plan or is this not the plan? And it's been like that for years. So I think that all of those points were so good. And now my soapbox, let me get on a ladder.
Yep.
Let me get a ladder.
Your time to shine.
Byron gets it up to Lynx. What's she going to do? She got it for the first time in WNBA.
So this all started because I was on Threads and I saw someone say, you guys it wasn't to me, but it was just to general WNBA fans. You guys are really hard on Chicago when LA is Chicago with palm trees. And I said, you know what? You are so right. And I think in general, and I would put myself in that, maybe we go a little easier on the Sparks because they are such a legacy team. They have so much positivity from the past that we cling to. Lisa Leslie getting a statue, and Candace Jersey getting retired, and Delisha Milton-Jones, her jersey was just retired, and those were the glory days, back-to-back championships, even the championships in 2016. That's when they finally defeated the Lynx. 2016 was 10 years ago.
Don't remind me that. Oh, God.
I've been graduated from college for 10 years. So much life has happened for me personally, in the world and in the WNBA landscape since that last championship. And when you look at it year by year, what has happened since that championship, it was downhill. And I always bring up this story, and I think it was So in 2017, they reached the finals. They lost to Minnesota, which there's a great book called Court Queens that really goes into that detail of that rivalry during the 2010s.
It almost looks like you have a copy behind you.
I totally have a copy, and that 2010s chapter is really good. So read that essay. But after that, I remember the 2018 playoffs for the LA Sparks. They won the first round and they lost the second round. I was at that game. They had to play at Long Beach State. Whole other story because they got kicked out of freaking Staples. But they were there, and Candace Parker was benched by Derek Fisher. They were playing the Connecticut Sun. This is what my introduction to Courtney Williams as well, and her dad. He was there, front row. And everyone in the crowd was like, is Candace Parker hurt? What's going on? From that moment on, when you saw that Candace Parker was not hurt and purposely benched by Derek Fisher, our organization has not recovered from that moment on. Because what happens from then on? You lose Candace Parker. You lose Chelsea Gray. You lose so many pieces that could have been sparks for life. They could have finished their careers there. So that is a trickle-down effect. And then you think of all the other players who have come and gone. We've had Kennedy Carter. We had Jordan Canada. We had Brittany Sykes. And you would think, okay, this is the player that's going to get us out the hole. No, this is the player that's going to get us out the hole. And then you get to 2024 where you're 8-32 and you are dead last in the league. So you can't go much lower than that. And you still think we have young, bright stars. Rickea Jackson, Cameron Brink. We just need one more vet. Kelsey Plum. Perfect. This is it. This is going to be the perfect match of vet and newness. And then you start off this season by trading Rickea Jackson, and everyone lost hope again. Again. You fire your GM after that Rickea Jackson trade because we're all like, what the heck? Ariel Atkins, I love you, girl. But you still are going on potential when you're building something. I don't think we were expecting the Sparks to turn it over overnight. We're kind of in the end of this rebuild, we thought. But this move for Kelsey Plum for another draft pick tells everybody that you're pushing the reset button again. And you're in the rebuild again with Nneka, who is closer to retirement than she is at the beginning of her career. And that is just so frustrating. And I feel like it is so frustrating for fans. And when you talk about something like a Chicago, where you're just not seeing the vision. There are other teams and other franchises where I think of a Seattle, who it's like, we see the vision though. We see it. It's been a high and then a low, and then you guys are going to go high again. For LA, it's like, we're here, we're low, we're high, we're low. And I'll say it again, and that's the last thing I'll say. If this isn't all for Juju Watkins, then throw the whole team away. Because we should have been tanking for Juju for the past 3 years.
Right.
So if we get Juju, all will be forgiven. But if not, then this was a waste.
Yeah, it's a very comprehensive timeline of things.
Jeez.
And I don't know why. I don't know, maybe like the mess in Chicago gets louder than the mess in LA, and maybe that's why there's more attention put on it. But it's, it is, like we said before, like they need to pick a direction. And I think they have like a little bit of whiplash in terms of like, oh, this person wants to come to us, screw the old plan, let's go that way. Then that doesn't quite work out. We're like, okay, actually, no, screw that plan. Let's go for draft assets, young talent. Oh, actually, okay, no, wait, no, like let's go. But you have to, I think the thing with rebuilds is like they take time, and you have to be patient with it. And you also have to make sure, I think, like everyone who comes to your team who is part of this rebuild has to understand what they are in for too. Because like you need buy-in from players. But if all of a sudden you say, actually, no, we're getting you, so screw the rebuild, we're winning right now, then you walk into a situation and you say, okay, great. That's the expectation. Let's go do it. And then when it doesn't happen, it's like, wait, I thought like, what is happening? So yeah.
And I am a Lakers fan. And I feel like it's a little bit of the same thing in the sense that, when we go in recent history, when we think of Randall and Lonzo Ball and Ingram and Josh Hart, like all these players that were young and spry and then they get on the Lakers and it's so hard to develop them. They go off to other places and win championships and be so great, and everyone's like, wait, why can't you do that here? It's a little bit like the same thing. Because you are a legacy team, the lights are so bright for the Sparks. The pressure is definitely different for any other franchise because you won championships, because you're building a Lisa Leslie statue outside of crypto. Like those are different. And I feel like there hasn't been this marriage of the right coach, the right GM, and the right roster. We haven't even talked about the coaching carousel that has happened since Derek Fisher. There has been so many coaches, so many GMs, and nobody has the right vision. And when you talked about like starting a project and throwing it away, I love interior design. One of my favorite shows is Rock the Block. If you guys have ever seen that show, it's on HGTV. I love this freaking show. And I was watching it over the weekend. It's basically these design teams, they get a blank house and they go room by room and it's a competition of who has the best room. Start with the kitchen, you start with the master suite, all of these things. And you have to have a vision. You have to go in with a vision starting in the first room, because if you start doing arches in the first room and then by the third room, you're like, actually, we don't want to do arches anymore. We just paid all that money to, get that construction going, but we're going to change it. We're going to actually just do cathedral ceilings and we're going to change it. You can't. It has to be cohesive throughout the whole house. And that's a little bit where the Sparks are struggling right now. They have arches in one room and they have LED lights and some duct tape in another room. They really need to figure out the vision.
Oh, not the LED lights. That's terrible.
But it's true.
Oh,
it's
my
so
gosh.
True.
Yeah.
And I think I want to trust the process. I really do. I really want to. And I know Sparks fans are struggling with that. But again, if Juju Watkins is in a Sparks jersey, we will all.
You'll be all this. We'll delete this podcast.
We'll delete the
conversation.
We'll
never
delete
happened.
Oh gosh. Okay. Final thoughts on the Sparks and where they go from here now, because we can't control what happened in the past and we really can't control the draft picks in the future. Sorry. One last thing. The first round pick that they got from Phoenix.
Oh, yes.
Because Phoenix was in the finals last year, Phoenix have to do bad. The Sparks are rooting for Phoenix to fail for that to be a lottery pick, because in the WNBA, you take the last 2 years. So another thing is that it might not even be a lottery pick.
Yeah. And they gave up a number 2 pick for Kelsey too. So you kind of lost 2 other picks. So the question was, where do they go from here for now?
For now, for this season. I'm looking at the standings right now. We are recording this Tuesday morning. They're sitting in 9th. So they're sitting in 9th. They could break the 6-year curse.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's tough. It's a tough, but okay. And I'm going to give like a non-answer answer. So I hope that's okay. But I'm going to flip it, put it back on them. Like, well, I think they need to choose what is more important to them. Is it more important to break the playoff seal, or is it more important to tank to, increase their odds. And I think that's them. Now, like they are like they're an NBA ownership too, right? Like these guys that are now like in the driver's seat of this. NBA literally had to change a rule about in their draft because of how prevalent tanking has become. So in my mind, I look at who's running the show and I think, oh, well, they'll choose to tank because that's what NBA teams in this position do. However, this is like these leagues are run and operate very differently. So I don't know if they're gonna say like, yeah, we should use that philosophy and then just tank. But I think that's like they need to figure out, is it more important to say that we can break the drought? Because let's be real, if they do get into 8th, they're not beating the Lynx in the first round in best of 3. I just don't think that that's going to happen. But where, so I think they need to figure out what direction they want to take. Everything screams rebuild. Like even when you have like if you have a De'Arica Hamby next year, and if you still have a NECA next year, like you still have those veteran players, that's not who you're building your team around. You need to figure out what young pieces can these veterans like support and supplement that can bring you the highest ceiling. So if I'm the Sparks, I'm thinking like we need to start figuring out what's going to be best for us after this year, which is weird because you asked a question about like what the short term is, but for them, I feel both. Like there is no short term. But I don't know at the same time.
No, that's fair. It's like we don't know. Like we ain't in the front office.
Saying tank is like hard to do. Like, like that's a hard thing to suggest, but
and you're a competitor. You want to go out there and win, and you want to make sure that you're giving it your all. And I think of somebody like a Ray Burrell. Like that is somebody who is giving 1,000% every time she is on the floor, every time she touches the ball. So it's hard to go to that player and be like, all right, go chill. Chill. We're not trying to win these games. It's not realistic. So I think for them, the bad part is everyone above them is playing very well right now. Everyone above them is you're kind of hoping that they fail, and that's what makes it hard because it's not really your destiny. You guys would have to do, like we talked about with Phoenix, you guys would have to do incredible, and the people above you would have to have a huge drop off.
Let me read you. Let me just like fire off the rest of their schedule really fast.
Please do.
So they play tomorrow against Chicago. So I know you'll be tuning into that game, Jordan. yeah, I think that you'd be like the most angry person watching that. Anyway, but after that, Lynx, Valkyries, Mercury, Liberty, Mystics. So either playoff heavyweights or fighting for their lives to get in the playoffs. Connecticut, Atlanta, Washington, Seattle, Dallas, and then Fire. And then they end their season, Aces, Valkyries.
Oh!
So I don't know what their record is going to be to end this year. I see 4 games that I could say like, yeah, they have like a true shot of winning those.
Out of 14? What is that?
Out of 14.
Yikes. Okay, that's a really tough schedule. Can I just say that this has happened to them multiple times, though?
Really?
Because they have been bubble teams like multiple years, and then they get to the end, and it's like Aces, like the West Coast teams.
Who did they
Aces,
piss off
in
the scheduling committee? Who did they do wrong?
They're like, Sparks, we were trying to help you by giving you an easy early season, and you guys ruined that. So now you have to try to win out with that type of schedule without Kelsey Plum. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really tough. Thank you for that perspective. We needed that because damn. Ooh, all right. You know, let's protect our peace for the rest of this pod.
Enough of that.
And enough of that. Enough of that. We're going to take a break, a deep breath. I'm going to get some water. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the amazing games that have happened over this past weekend. And yeah, a lot to talk about. We'll be right back.
Hey there, it's Jill Schlesinger. I'm launching a new show. It's called Money Moves, and your money is going to move. We're going to help you make better financial decisions. We're going to call out the BS you're finding all over social media. We're going to give you actionable guidance to make your financial life clearer, less stressful. We're going to answer your financial questions and take the mystery out of your financial life. Follow and listen to Money Moves with Jill Schlesinger wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. And there's been some great basketball, some really good basketball. And I just want to start with that Minnesota Lynx and Indiana Fever game. Oh my goodness. First time that they have played each other, which is wild that it's August and that has happened. But man, it was worth the wait, Kendra. What did you love about this matchup?
Oh my gosh.
High power.
What didn't I love about this matchup? What a great way to spend your Sunday, like who's out on the West Coast, your Sunday morning, a little 10 a.m. basketball that went like that. I mean, I will say, I guess for that particular game, like those dynamic guards, man, were so fun to watch. Watching Kelsey Mitchell and Olivia Miles just throw haymakers at each other was so fun to watch. And like, honestly, I'm almost glad that the matchup was this late in the season, just because like both teams are at full strength. I feel like the Fever really have figured themselves out and they're playing some of their best basketball of the year. You have Nafisa Collier healthy now. Like, it was just everything you want in an elite matchup. But I mean, again, like Kelsey Mitchell, I feel like obviously last year she was getting a lot of her flowers and deservedly so. But like, I think we need to give her even more, because as we've seen some carousel action happen with the personnel in Indiana over the last however many years, like she's been there, and she has been their most consistent player for like a couple seasons now, in my opinion. I just think that like she is the reason why they got to where they did last year, playing till her legs fell off. And then even this year, like she has just been so good for them. And when she gets on a heater, it is just so incredible to watch. It is just like pure basketball. And then on the other end, you know, people started calling her the spectacle, which like I'm all here for it. Like what Olivia Miles has done, like it makes me giddy. It just makes me so like, I just love it. It's so fun.
It's so fun. She dropped 28 points. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 37. But my favorite moment from the game was them having a second to catch their breath at a free throw, and Olivia Miles just being like, "You're so tough, man. You're so tough," to Kelsey Mitchell. Olivia Miles said, "This is kind of my welcome to the W moment, trying to guard Kelsey Mitchell." And so many people have said that at All-Star Weekend. It was a rookies panel with Awa Pham, Raven Johnson, and Olivia Miles. And Raven Johnson said, my welcome to the W moment was day one in practice, having to guard Kelsey Mitchell. I said, oh, this is the WNBA. They're really good here. That is Kelsey, and she has been regarded as that so many times. But the 37, it's not just the 37. It's the 14 for 21 from the field. It's the 6 for 8 from 3, 1 point shy from her career high, her 14th consecutive 20-point game, the second longest streak in the WNBA, just next to A'ja Wilson's 15. So she's right there on the cusp of it. Caitlin also had a double-double, 19 points, 10 assists. This was the number one offense in Indiana against the number 2 defense, but it was a lot of offense. It was 108 to 100 that the Lynx were able to pull it out. But man, this just got me excited for postseason. Like they need to somehow, I don't know how the brackets configured, please make sure that they can play each other. It was so good. And everything led up to, it was a lot of buildup, and it definitely paid off for sure. The other game that I wanted to touch on when we talk about big performances was the Sky beating the Aces 84 to 83. A little different scoring there. 84 to 83. But the drama going into these final moments. I don't know how many times they put on the screen the Sky's record in clutch time, because the Sky have
winless at that point.
They were over 0-6 in overtime games, 0-6 in one possession games. I don't know how many times we've seen this season either a last second shot they missed, or they just gave up so many points in clutch time that they fumble a lead. But they finally got through because they have someone named Sydney Taylor on their team. The rookie, the undrafted rookie, unconscious. Everyone in the gym knew that the ball was going to her, and she just drilled the three for the win over the Aces. That was crazy,
that whole game for her was, like you said, like there was no doubt who was getting the ball in that situation, because her whole game was just so good. And I loved seeing like the celebration around her, how much it meant to her and her team and Chicago, and to do it over a team like the Aces with A'ja Wilson. Chelsea Gray was doing Chelsea Gray things down the stretch. But it's just such a moment. You know what I mean? Like, we finally did it. And I think sometimes we get so wrapped up, or like there's so much that bogs down like the basketball side of sports, of this league. And so to see that play, and then to see it happen for someone who has such an amazing story and just is like just happy to be there, but obviously very deserving to be there too, is just such a great, like, those are the things that get people, like, that's why people love sports. It's like moments like that, and it was just so fun to watch.
Yes, that I had that exact same reaction. This is why I love sports, especially when you have the history of, she missed that shot, multiple times in the season, specifically against the Liberty. And she talks about it in the post game. Like, I have not stopped thinking about that shot. And I'm like, Rook, you're going to get plenty more opportunities.
I can only imagine how many times she's like staying late to practice that exact shot,
that exact shot, that exact same situation. And even Tyler Marsh, we talk about as players trying to work on that. I heard on the broadcast that after All-Star break, end of game situations were becoming a priority, because 0-6, y'all really got to get with it and fix some things. So shout out to them. I mean, we're going to talk about A'ja. 36 points, 12 rebounds. She had the go-ahead layup with 3.2 seconds to win it. And I feel like we have talked about A'ja before, and I saw the comment on our YouTube video, and the woman said that, every time we talk about A'ja, it's just kind of like, she's so great, and it's very passive. And I really took that to heart, because I do think we talk about her in that way because it's just so great, and there's so many accolades and so many MVPs that it's like, man, she's great, and that's it. But I really wanted to watch this weekend. That was my homework, to be like, why is A'ja Wilson so great?
I love that.
What is it about specifically her game that is so great? And I want to hear from you. But something that I noticed, especially in that Chicago game where she started, or she had 36 points, but also the game against New York where she had the first half, she had 10 points and then just goes off in the second half. And what makes players so great to me is when everyone in the arena, everyone on the scouting report, everyone watching on TV knows that A'ja Wilson's spot is that free throw line, and that free throw line extended, and she still gets there and she still makes it. That was something that just was like, how many times are you guys going to give it to her? You guys are bringing 2 to Chelsea Gray. She's bouncing it behind her back. A'ja's at her spot. She rips through, drives right-handed. She's at her spot. It is that perfectionism as a pro and as a superstar that it's like, I'm not going to make the game super hard. I'm going to get to my spot 100%. And do what I do best. So that was one thing that I saw.
I mean, I'll try and think of a new one on the spot, because that's the first thing that came to my mind too, is that when you have like just greats, they nothing you do can really slow them. And it doesn't matter if they're off balance. It doesn't matter if they're perfectly square. If they're in that spot, it's automatic. And I think the other thing that like really stands out about a player like A'ja is like, you can tell with certain players of that level when they know it's time to just take over. You can see it switch. Like the great thing about A'ja, and I think of other, like just great basketball players, like I spent a lot of time covering Stephen Curry and stuff, is like they're team players. They want the team to win. They are not hogs. They are not like, it's all about me. And at the same time, when it's time for them to say, okay, we need this game. We need to close this out. They do it. And it's so incredible to see something in their brain just like switch, and them already being unguardable, just take it to a whole other level. And I think that's something that really stands out. I think A'ja understands her body so well. She understands how much space or lack of space she needs to operate to get her shot off. Like you said, she knows where she needs to be, that's reliable and feels like comfort. And not every player has that to this level. You know what I mean? I think some people are really bugged by not having a lot of space to operate in. It doesn't matter for her. Like she's just so, like, she just understands how to contort herself and maneuver herself just right. And I think that's a skill that can't really be taught. I think you just have that feel.
Mm-hmm. I also have homework to do to watch the reality show that I know is on ESPN,
my God.
Life in
Yes.
the W. I don't know how I haven't. Did you start it? Okay.
I started it. I'm only 3 episodes in, but it's been my like treadmill. Like I'll walk on the treadmill and like walk and watch an episode, because they're like 35, 40 minutes long. So I'm like, okay, that's a good walk.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'm going to do that because I think we'll all get an insight of just that mindset that is her. I have the theory, and I don't think it's really out of the box, that the top athletes, the top performers, the top artists, you're a little crazy. You're a little crazy. Like you kind of have to be a little psychotic to be so about your craft. And I love seeing that inner workings of just how crazy someone is in a reality show, or them just kind of giving a little bit secrets to what makes them tick.
Oh my God. No, you'll love it. Like I said, I'm only like a couple episodes into it, maybe like halfway. So maybe 4 episodes, but like, and the thing that I appreciate, because I'm the same way, I love understanding why, like, my friends and I call them like basketball sickos. Like I love to understand why a sicko is just a basketball sicko.
Yeah.
And I can say from A'ja, I think that like Nafisa talking about her injury and her experience with pregnancy, like all that's fascinating. I think DB, like Dawana talking about, like, it really just is like, I love it. Plus, you might see a cameo from someone.
Okay. Well, that's why I need to tune in. Forget the rest of them. I want to see Petra on the big
I talk
screen.
about my basketball sickness too. I go, this is what I did to begin. Just
so
kidding.
Good. So good. Well, I will
highly recommend.
Highly recommend. I'll tune into that. And A'ja Wilson, you are so great, and I love nerding out while watching her play basketball. And when you just look at the numbers, 26.8 points a game, 43.8% from three, 53.2% from the field. She has just been on point, on target all season long. And I love watching her play. Okay, before we go, the last thing, I got to talk about mascots. And
okay,
did you see that the Cleveland WNBA team who is coming to 2028 has announced their colors and their team? It was just this morning. Initial reaction, the Cleveland Sirens.
I like the blue. If they're going blue, I love the blue. Now, my friend did she asked a question. She said, aren't sirens in the ocean and not a lake? And I said, I have to check up on my Greek mythology.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like objectively, whatever body of water they live in, I really like it. I do think that there was a side of me that's like, oh, I wish they brought back like the former marketing and stuff.
The rockers. It was
just
so good.
The nostalgia.
But if they, seeing I had that same thought, but seeing the Liberty and the Mercury bringing back old school jerseys, they just need to have throwback jerseys.
That's true.
That's
an homage
all,
to it.
That's all
that is fair. But I am a fan of the initial release of it all.
Me too. The presentation. Incredible. Yes. If you guys haven't watched that video, it's so good. It gets you hype. And also, I think that if your mascot is an emoji, the level of likeness just immediately goes up. The fact that I could immediately use a mermaid emoji when I'm talking about the Cleveland team.
Yeah.
Boost points.
Yeah. Listen, and then plus when you think about like the mascots that'll like run around the game if they do one, like a siren, a
little mermaid.
Okay.
That'll be so good. There's a lot there. There's a lot you could do with there. And when they were showing off all the blue, I was like, is there not a blue W team? And they're
not like a true blue, because I feel like the only ones with blue are like what Dallas has blue in Minnesota, but that's like a blue-green combo.
It's a blue-green combo. It's not really the main color. I was like, Detroit Shock was kind of a blue and a red. The Connecticut Sun have that blue jersey.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Dream have kind
orange.
of they're orange.
More red.
Atlanta Dream has got rid of their blue, so it was smart. I like the blue.
Yeah.
I like the blue. So
kudos,
Cleveland. We're excited for you to come, and I like the mermaids. Thanks, Kendra. This is always so much fun. We talked about a lot, and you're the best.
Yes. Oh my God, you are too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a quick rating or review helps more Hoops fans discover the show. And you can see us on our new YouTube channel. Also, our inbox is open for business. Shoot us an email at women'shoops@odyssey.com to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear your hottest takes, your burning questions, and all your feelings about all things women's hoops. We might just feature your note on the show. That's women'shoops@odyssey.com. The Women's Hoop Show is an Odyssey original podcast hosted by me, Jordan Robinson. My guest today was Kendra Andrews. Our producer is Phil Switek. Our executive producers are Greg Holdsman, Asha Saluja, Danny Freisinger, and Leah Reese Dennis. And special thanks to Moira Curran and Josephina Francis.